Let's bring in NewsNation legal contributor Jesse Weber. He's also anchor and host for the Law and Crime Network. Jesse, good morning. Michael Cohen's testimony comes after many of the prosecution's own witnesses slammed him. How do you see this claim actually landing the case with Michael Cohen as a witness?
Well, look, there's a reason he was called as one of the last witnesses, because you had all these other witnesses to try to build up his credibility. And clearly that's going to be a major issue. If you have one word for today, if cross-examination, it's going to be credibility. But Caitlin laid it out perfectly. I mean, if you want to talk about why he is essentially the star witness for the prosecution, it was tying Donald Trump not just to the hush money payments, but to the repayment plan. And the more that he knew what was going on, this meeting that was between Michael Cohen and Donald Trump and Alan Weisselberg, where it was very clear that Michael Cohen was going to be paid back, not in legal fees, that it was an understanding he wasn't his lawyer, but it was a reimbursement plan. And to not pay him just $130,000, but $420,000 to disguise the payments, that's key. But as Caitlin said, and this is the most important point, Nick, the jury has to be convinced that he falsified these business records with the criminal intent to undermine the election. And that is a violation of New York state law. Did Michael Cohen deliver it on a silver platter for the jury? Maybe, maybe not. There's going to be a little bit more to explore. But I mean, I can't wait to see what happens with the cross-examination, because arguably he's a very bad witness. He's a problematic witness. The prosecution knows this, but it all becomes down to whether or not the jury believes his account from yesterday. We know Alan Weisselberg's not going to testify, so a lot of this stands with Michael Cohen.
Jesse, when you talk about intent from the former president, that requires someone to actually be in his head to know what he was thinking. The defense has already been going after Cohen's credibility, particularly since he's been convicted of perjury. What do you expect cross-examining to actually look like when we know that he would have to say he knew exactly what the former president was thinking?
So their whole theme is going to be, you can't trust Michael Cohen because he's built a whole brand on going after Donald Trump. Let's look at what he said in media interviews. Let's look at what he said on podcasts. Have we seen what he's been doing on TikTok the last few weeks? And so the more that the jury believes he will say or do anything to go after Donald Trump and make sure he's convicted, that's how you get at his credibility. And by the way, Nick, he opened himself up a little bit to cross-examination yesterday when he talked about how he was almost essentially a disgruntled employee. He wasn't happy that he didn't have a position in the White House. At one point, he wasn't happy that he wasn't getting paid back the money that he wanted to get paid back. I'm sure that's something that's going to be explored by the defense. And they're also going to say, you know, this meeting, you really believe that Donald Trump was going to pay you $420,000? Didn't you say, you know, he was really tight with his money? He was very careful. Does this seem a little bit too hard to believe? So he's going to face some tough questions. And we all know that cross-examination for a witness is much tougher than direct examination.
Jesse, I've got less than 30 seconds, but some of former President Trump's potential VP candidates are now showing up at his trial. Vivek Ramaswamy is expected to be there today. Do you see that potentially impacting this jury amid questions over how politics may affect their verdict?
It shouldn't. And you also have to wonder if the jury knows who a lot of these people are or why they are there. They shouldn't be looking at the media. They shouldn't be hearing these comments from outside the courthouse. Look, in any trial, there are going to be people in the gallery. There are going to be supporters. There are going to be people who are siding with one side or another. It really shouldn't affect their decision, but who knows what gets into a juror's mind.
Jesse Weber, thanks again for joining us this morning.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.